Smuggling jail contraband, smuggling prison contraband. How far people will go to get their contraband. It will actually surprise you how far people are willing to go. In this video, I'm going to show you one of the most disturbing and disgusting ways that contraband has been smuggled into jail and prison. Welcome to the Guardian File. Before I go any further, make sure you hit that like and sub button. Let's talk about it. There are many different ways that contraband, whether you're talking about drugs, cell phones, tobacco, even sometimes guns, can make its way inside of a jail or prison. Throughout my career, I can tell you many different ways that I've come across and that I've heard of, ranging from officers, other staff members bringing it in, ranging from someone hiding in the woods and running and throwing the contraband over the fence, to today a more advanced way of using drones. See, but today what we're going to focus on is the old school way. The old school way of it coming through visitation. Contraband being brought through visitation. Now, it still happens, but it's not done as much as it has been in the past, because you can only get so much through visitation. When it comes to visitation, it can come in through many ways. I've experienced or witnessed it go as far as a mother and son giving each other a passionate kiss in the mouth.
Na, habe ich dir zu viel versprochen? Unsere Eva sagt besser als jeder Stoff.
Just look at him in the eyes.
Cute. Very, very cute.
And passing balloons filled with drugs from one mouth to the other mouth. Yes. To the girlfriends hiding the drugs in their private areas. Until one of the more disgusting and despicable ways. Hiding the drugs on the children.
Megan put approximately 6.5 ounces of meth, which was packaged in 8 separate baggies, in the child's lap and covered the drugs with a blanket.
Street value of the drugs?
Approximately $20,000.
Yes. The children are also used as mules. Let's check it out. Now, did you see that? Did you see that? We just witnessed the mother and father of the century. Now, what are your thoughts on what you just witnessed? Let me know in the comment section. I'm about to give you mine. See, one thing I've noticed throughout my career is I listen to these guys talk about how much they love their children and wish they could be in their children's lives, and all that good stuff that sounds good when you're away from your children. But most likely in many cases, even if these dudes were in the lives of their children, they probably wouldn't be doing much of anything. Not all. There are some decent individuals just locked up in prison. There's also a lot of dirtbags. Whereas the children are actually better off without the father being in their lives. But that's a conversation for another day. Now, something tells me that this is probably the first time that this gentleman has even seen this child throughout his whole bid. I have no proof of that, but that's just my first thought when I see this. Because you really can't tell me that you give a damn about your children, your child, if you use your child for that. Now, first off, I really don't agree with parents forcing their children to enter a prison to visit their father or mother, because they should be out doing more productive things like living the life of actual kids. But who am I to judge when it comes to that? Now, this may sound surprising, but this is actually the most common way that drugs are brought into the institution, through visitation. Because the thought process is, and it makes sense, that a person is going to be less prone to search a child. Put yourself in the place of an officer. Do you want to be in that position whereas you have to search a child? It's an extremely uncomfortable position. They know this. So instead of them carrying the drugs on themselves, because we'll heavily search the adults coming through, they'll just put the drugs on the child. If it's a small baby, they'll hide the drugs in the diaper. In this case, it looked like I think they had the drugs in a sock or something. But they know that we're less prone to thoroughly check a child. Now, since this has become one of the more common ways, we just had to put the fact that we're uncomfortable doing something to the side and actually go through that uncomfortable process of thoroughly checking children. And now we have to place a lot more attention on the children. And it's got to the point now whereas, and I totally agree with this, that there can't be any physical contact with the children as far as the child sitting on the father's lap. They can get a hug and a kiss at the beginning, and they can get a hug and a kiss once the visitation is terminated. But there's no more contact in between those times because of incidents like this. And you may wonder what actually happens to the visitor that tries to bring drugs into the institution. Really nothing. If anything, they're probably doing her a favor because her visits from this point on are terminated. She can't visit him anymore. Now, I'm pretty sure that doesn't bother her too much because she's probably tired of his ass anyway. And if this man put this woman in this type of position, you can imagine what he was like when he was outside. This most likely is the type of guy that just doesn't care about anyone but himself. That's the only possible thing I could think of if you will use your child to bring drugs into an institution. So she doesn't get arrested, doesn't get charged with anything. Her visitation basically just gets terminated. So he has to now find another way to get it in. And his next way of getting the drugs in won't be through visitation because most likely his visitation rights have been terminated probably for the next 2 or 3 years. So he'll have to convince an officer to bring it in, or he may have someone that can bring it in by throwing it over the fence or flying the drone from miles away and having the drugs delivered, dropped off somewhere on the prison grounds. But I just wanted to show this because this is a common thing. And with this, you can see the extent that a person is willing to go to get drugs or any type of contraband brought into the institution. Because to be real with you, it's big money. There's a lot of money to be made when it comes to this. So these guys are willing to do any and everything to get these drugs into the institution, even if it means sacrificing a family member to get it done. Make sure you hit that like and sub button. Thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm out.